What's up, everybody? Good afternoon. We are here on a Wednesday, just waiting for the practice report to come out later. I'll be making a video whenever it does, whenever we get some meaningful injury updates. I will be talking about it, but before we get there, we got to talk about something else. We need to talk about the Seahawks receivers, most namely one Jaxon Smith-Njigba, because I get the sense that there's still a little bit of apprehension around this guy. He was very much hyped when we picked him. What was it, about 18 months ago in the 2023 draft? A lot of excitement there. Rookie season was okay. You know, it wasn't the best, but he was productive. He did some nice things. And then this year, he gets hyped again during the offseason. We get to the season. It's been better. Steps in the right direction for sure. But I still feel like there is a little bit of a wondering in this fan base of when are we going to get what we were billed when we drafted this guy in the first round, in the top 20. Not a throwaway pick in the 30s or anything like that. No, 20th overall, you picked JSN. So there are expectations baked into there. Remember, he was the first receiver taken in that draft. A draft that has produced some pretty questionable picks like Quentin Johnston, but you've also had a guy like Zay Flowers be very productive so far in his career. We actually had a receiver in that class break the all-time rookie record, Puka. Not that I could compare one to the other. One guy went in the 5th round, the other guy went in the top 20, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about. And this has led some people to say things about JSN that are clearly not true. And I talk about this sometimes. And I want to talk about it in a slightly different way in this video, because there are things about JSN that are very clearly true. And when I say that, what I mean is he needs to have better hands. His hands have been a disappointment so far. His drop rate is higher than it should be for a player of his reputation and his ability and his talent. That's fair. But the thing that he does get criticized for that doesn't make sense and has never really made sense, and I see this sometimes, I really do, is he doesn't get open. So let's talk about that. Before I get to that, though, I hope you like this video. If you do, please click the like button down below. It helps the channel out. Subscribe if you're new and you want daily Seahawks content. Click the bell for notifications. Become a member for $2 a month. Those are the best ways to help support the channel. All right, so let's take a look at PFF here. They put out a fun article this week. It's premium content, so not everybody can see it. And I'm not going to go over the whole thing, but this article highlighted JSN in a positive way, so I thought it was a pretty good way to evaluate things a little bit. And basically, the article is taking a look at how often receivers are beating coverage to get open. And that first part is important. Beating coverage to get open. When the defense is defending 3rd and 25 and they're just letting receivers have the first 10 yards for free and a receiver gets open underneath for a catch, he didn't beat coverage. The defense just gave it to him. And you scroll down a little bit, they actually talk about this a little bit. Separation percentage measures how often a receiver beats the coverage to get open, rather than benefiting from a defense more focused on limiting yards after the catch or stopping them short of the first down. So in order to get a high separation percentage, you have to earn it against a defense that is actually trying to stop you from getting open. If they're just allowing you to get open, it doesn't count. So it's another one of those stats that is trying to eliminate the stuff that really doesn't quantify whether or not somebody's good at something, right? And this particular week, JSN had the highest separation percentage of any qualifying, I believe, player. It might be just wide receivers, but I'm pretty sure they have some tight ends in here as well. Yes, they do. At 87.5%, which is cool. But that in and of itself would not necessarily be meaningful. So if you scroll down to this article at the very bottom here, they do it for the whole season. They rank every player in the league who has had at least 35 opportunities to try to get open against coverage. from highest separation percentage to lowest. So I'm not going to go through the whole list, obviously. There are 107 players listed here. This list is 107 players long. We scroll down a little bit, we get to JSN. He is the top Seahawk on this list. He gets open against coverage that is trying to cover him 62.65% of the time. That ranks 32nd in the league. So in a list of over 100 players, he ranks 32nd. So he's not elite, but he's very good. Just for fun, while we're here, Tyler Lockett, 58.2 or 58.02%. That ranks him at 48, so just a little above average. And then a little below that would be DK Metcalf, who gets open 56.63% of the time, which is just basically bang on average. Ooh, excuse me. I imagine that, you could definitely do some further breakdowns to try to contextualize these numbers. There are players who rank very low on this list who we know are very good. Like George Kittle is actually very close to the bottom of this list. But I think we know why that probably is. He's probably getting double-teamed more. Part of the reason why CeeDee Lamb isn't getting open that often is because he's getting double-teamed a lot. DK Metcalf is definitely getting double-teamed a lot, so he's near the bottom of this list. That's not to say that he's a bad player or that he can't get open or anything like that. Of course not. So, by the way, there's one other Seahawk on this list, Noah Fant, 45.45, so he's actually 94th. So he's near the bottom. So that's not what you want to see. That's not great. We don't like that. But the three receivers on this team, the wide receivers, are all at least average in this area. And two of them are noticeably better, and one of them is really good. And the one that is really good at this is JSN. So we've seen multiple websites describe JSN as one of the best receivers, if not, in some cases, the best receiver in the league at getting open. Last year, there were stats that indicated he was building separation at a rate that no other receiver was as a rookie. And now this year, we're seeing something like this. The guy is getting open. So that part of the equation is being taken care of. And again, the reason why I talk about this is I have gotten people who say, I don't think JSN is getting open. I think he's always blanketed, and that's why we don't get him the ball that much. No, that's not it. Now, there's nothing I can really say about the man's hands, right? The hands are not where they need to be. The drops are part of the problem. That's why some of these things are not where we want them to be yet. But I look at how every metric we have tells us that JSN gets open like it's no thing, like it ain't no thing. He's open constantly. He gets open better than most other players in the league. And then I'm looking at the production so far in his career, and he's still young, right? He's 22. He's going to turn 23 after this season, regular season ends anyway. Maybe he'll turn 23 right before the Super Bowl, I guess. So he's still young, and maybe the hands are part of it, and he's young, and he's young, and he's young. I don't want to keep saying that over and over, though. I'm just looking at these numbers and how often we take advantage of him being open. One game last year where he got targeted more than 10 times. Just one. And one game where he had more than 6 catches. That very same game, naturally. Right? I mean, look at some of these games. Some of these games he's got 1 catch. Like, this is a game late in the season. Game number 16, week 17, you're playing the Steelers, big game. He gets targeted twice. And look, the rookie years in the past, I'm not saying that we need to harp on this stuff, but honestly, you look at 2024 so far, there's still something that is not quite where it needs to be. I know that you don't ever really want to be critical of decisions made in a game that you win, and we did win our first 3 games, but JSN 2 targets against Denver, 3 targets against Miami, even against like the Giants, 7 targets. I don't think that's enough if this guy's getting open to the rate that he is. like, we're not talking about catches, right? If we're talking about catches, that would be one thing. Then we could say he's dropping too many passes, but you can't say that when it comes to targets, right? Unless you get to a point where his hands are so bad, Gino doesn't trust him to throw him the ball, which I don't think we're there yet. Like, this guy has now played 23 games in his Seahawks career, and he's gone over 10 catches once. In fact, he's gone over 8 catches once against New England. He's gone over 10 targets 3 times. And it's getting a little bit better this year, right? Like, this year you're seeing, 2 double-digit target games. He's got a 12-catch game. He's got an 8-catch game. 8 catches was more than any game he had last year. But look at the player that a lot of people compare JSN to. When we drafted him, this was what the Hawks Nest compared him to. A lot of people compared him to this guy. It made sense. Amon-Ra St. Brown. When we drafted JSN, the hope was that he would be what Amon-Ra St. Brown has become for the Detroit Lions. Let's look at what the Lions do with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Another guy who has a similar skill set to JSN, and they use him in a similar way, but okay. Rookie year, now we're going back to a very different and a very much worse Detroit Lions team than the team they have now. But even in that rookie year, look at this. The last 6 games of the year, they realized what they had with Amon-Ra St. Brown, and they gave him double-digit targets in every single game to close out that season. I understand they were not a very good team that year. I understand that they had problems that year. I understand that they were one of the worst teams in the league. And I understand they probably had to throw the ball a lot because they were always playing from behind. But look at this focus on getting Amon-Ra St. Brown the ball. We've never seen anything even close to this in Seattle's offense with JSN. And then it goes into next year. And it's not every game, of course, right? Like, you got this one game here. Look, what happened here? Maybe he got hurt. 1 target, 6 targets. You got some games where it's a little bit slow. 5 targets. But over and over and over again, they are seeking him out for double-digit targets every game. And he has multiple games of double-digit catches. You go into 2023, which was the year when Detroit actually started really putting it together. 12 targets, 15, 19. Now, that was bad because they got blown out in that game and they were throwing the ball a lot because they were behind. But 11, 14, 10. He's got 12 catches, 13 catches, 9 catches, 8 catches, 12 catches. Game after game after game of monster production and monster usage. And so far this year, it's actually been a little more subdued, right? He's had a couple of more quiet games. 18 targets against the Buccaneers, though. 11 catches in that game, so there are still big games. And in the playoffs, they're pretty much always seeking him out. 7 catches, 8 catches, 7 catches, double-digit targets in 2 of his 3 playoff games in his career. Always trying to get that guy the ball. So, right off the bat, pretty much, he played the first 10, 11 games of his career, was getting moderate usage, and then it just took off. They realized what they had, and they went with it. He was getting open a lot. So, the thing that disturbs me, and one of the reasons why I'm making this video, under normal circumstances, I wouldn't really care this much about that. I would still say, hey, he got 9 targets against the Niners. That's still a lot. He needs to do a little bit more with the targets he's getting. Problem with that is that Geno Smith is currently leading the league in passing attempts by a lot. So we're throwing the ball a ton. And while it has improved, and we are seeing glimpses of what this offense could be, it's still just not matching the expectations. And maybe JSN's hands have a little to do with that. But if we start feeding him the ball 10 to 12 times a game, and he's dropping a pass or 2 passes every week, then we can have that conversation. I'll have that conversation then. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? What's it going to take for us to get there? Is this just going to be a thing where we have to get to maybe the end of the year before Grubb really hones in on this? Because again, normally I just shrug my shoulders, but Geno Smith is leading the league in passing attempts by a mile. So there are a ton of targets to go around here, and we're still not seeing JSN get spammed the ball the way we see some great slot receivers often get, like Amon-Ra St. Brown. All right. I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think down below. More videos coming soon.